Welcome to Coming Home to Yourself, the podcast for high achieving women ready to lead from within. I'm Jagoda, and here we dive into real conversations about confidence, clarity, and emotional freedom. Each week, I'll share honest stories, gentle insights, and soul deep shifts to help you reconnect with the woman beneath the roles. This is your space to slow down, breathe, and exhale, to stop performing strength and start living your truth, to remember who you are beneath it all. Let's begin.
You're not the mistake. You are the awareness. But when you're caught in the middle of a shame storm, you don't see that. You don't see a storm. You see a verdict. And it feels like a sinking weight. You see a permanent stamp on your soul that says, I'm not enough. Last episode, we talked about judgment, about how judgment hurts. Not because it's true, but because we believe it says something about us. Today, I want to go one layer deeper. Judgment is external. It says you did something wrong. It is about behavior, about something you should have done, achieved, said, but you haven't. But beneath fear of judgment and judgment, there is often something heavier, quieter, more intimate, and that's shame. Shame is intimate. It's the feeling that says something is fundamentally wrong with me. It's not I made a mistake, but I am the mistake. And that is a whole other level. And if you ever felt that after failing, after being rejected, after not living up to your own standards, this episode is for you. If I would pick up one thing I want you to remember, to understand from this episode, is this. Shame is not proof that you are broken. Shame is not evidence of your worth. Shame is not insight. It's not a helpful moral compass. Shame is a thought, a painful thought that feels permanent. It is disguised as a fundamental truth because you've lost sight of who you are beneath it. And consciousness is what makes that thought feel so heavy and personal. But your mind, that deeper intelligence, was whole before the thought appeared and will be whole after it passes. And I have been there too. I know how shame feels because I lived it as a child. My name, which I love today, was something kids mocked in primary school. My name, Jagoda, means strawberry, and so the kids often called me raspberry or fig or whatever. And I felt so different, so not right, that when I met new people, I actually introduced myself as Clara. I was a child trying to outrun a shadow. I thought by changing my name, I could change the truth of my unworthiness. It took a breakdown at age 12 to realize that the only opinion that truly matters is mine. Most people don't change their names, they change their opinions, needs, boundaries. But shame only survives as long as you believe it. It has no mass, no substance. It's a shadow on the wall that only gets its power when you believe the thought that made it look real. Most people think shame reveals truth. It doesn't. It only reveals low mood thinking. Imagine you have a 24-carat diamond, pure, rare, unbreakable. Now imagine you drop it into a thick, murky puddle of mud. Does the mud change the molecular structure of the diamond? Does it become muddy on the inside? Of course not. The mud never touched what the diamond is, the essence, the core. You could leave it there for 10 years, but the moment you wash it under clear water, it is as radiant as the day it was formed. Shame is the mud. It's a temporary coating of low mood thinking, heavy thinking, self-attacking stories. And most of us spend our lives trying to fix the diamond. We apologize for it, hide it, or polish it obsessively through overachievement and people pleasing. But a diamond was never damaged. You don't need to fix yourself. You need clarity to see that you were never soiled to begin with. Clarity doesn't come from effort, it comes from understanding. And you see, judgment comes from the outside. You've already heard that in our last episode. But now you can feel why it matters. And shame is what happens when you take that judgment inside and start repeating it to yourself.
If this is landing for you, hit that subscribe button so we can keep having these conversations together. And if Salma's face came to mind while you were listening, send it her way. She might need it more than you know.
Judgment says, you're not good enough. Shame says, I knew it. Shame is judgment that found a home in your thinking. And shame often triggers a threat defense system in the brain, leading to typical behaviors like my younger self calling myself Clara because I want to hide my true self to avoid being seen as defective. Or we can use perfectionism as productivity mask to outrun the feeling of unworthiness. Or we can take external judgment inside and repeat it until it finds a home in our thinking. I have seen all that in me or people close to me and people I work with. Now, here's the part most people miss. Shame is a thought, a story, a sentence your mind is repeating. Shame is just low mood thinking. In a high mood, your mistakes look like lessons. In a low mood, those same mistakes look like a life sentence. The facts haven't changed, only your level of consciousness has. And I'm sure you felt this already. You didn't change, your thinking did. And because of that, everything changed. Let that sink in. And consciousness is what makes that thought feel real, heavy, personal, true. And mind, as I said, is the deeper intelligence beneath both. The part of you that was whole before this thought appeared and will be whole after it passes. You see, the mistake is not having the thought. The mistake is forgetting you are not the thought and believing that thought. Remember being a child and seeing a shadow on the wall at night? It looked real, right? Dangerous, alive. But when the light changed, the monster disappeared. The shadow never had power. It only borrowed fear. And shame works the same way. It has no mask, no substance, no authority. It only survives as long as you believe it, as long as you keep it alive. Judgment is like standing on a bridge, looking at the ripples in the water and being afraid of them. Shame, on the other hand, is jumping into the cold water and thinking you've become the river instead of remembering that you're the one watching it because you're still standing on the bridge, perfectly safe, just watching the water go by. I want you to ask yourself honestly right now, if you weren't having this specific thought in this second, would the shame still be there? Does this feeling feel like a permanent fact or a heavy storm passing through? If a person you loved told you she or he felt this way, would you agree she or he is broken? Or would you see she or he is just caught in a storm of thought? And here's something we don't talk about enough. High achieving women often confuse self criticism with responsibility, shame with growth, and pressure with motivation. Perfectionism isn't ambition, it's fear wearing a productivity mask. People pleasing isn't kindness, it's self protection. Overachievement isn't confidence, it's often an attempt to outrun shame. But shame cannot be outrun, only understood. So, my question is, which one of these are you calling strength right now? You heal shame by realizing there was never anything wrong with you. The moment you see shame as thought, not identity, its grip loosens. Not because you thought it, but because you saw through it. You don't heal shame by becoming better, fixing yourself, or proving your worth. You heal it by realizing there was never anything wrong with you. So this week, I invite you to stop analyzing the mud. When shame shows up, just notice this is a thought, and I am the awareness in which it appears. Let it pass like weather. You see, no matter how far the wrong path you think you've gone, you can always turn back. It's never too late to remember who you were before the thought, who you are beneath the thought. Until the next time, stay on the bridge.
Thanks for listening to Coming Home to Yourself. If this episode spoke to you, take a moment to subscribe and share it with one woman who needs it. And if you're ready to go deeper, come find me on Instagram or Facebook, because this isn't just a podcast, it's a return to your body, to your breath, to your heart, to your own voice. Your story matters. You matter. See you next time.